All right, Tennessee Titans fans, Mock Draft 2.0 is here. Full 7 round, for all the picks, all the detail. It is here for your enjoyment. I'm excited about this mock draft. I really like the top end. The first 4 picks are amazing in my opinion. And before we start, check it out. New shirt, new Titan shirt. I'm going to move my mic over here for a second. See the new logo right there on the chest. The blue is really nice. It's comfortable. It's got the Tennessee Titans word mark on the back. It's so clean. It's so nice. The logo really does pop on merch. It really does look good. But with that out of the way, hope you guys like the shirt. But now let's talk about the mock a little bit before we jump into it, because this mock is pretty good. I'm not as high on some of the day 3 options as I initially was, to be completely honest with all of you. But at the very least, there's traits here that we'll talk about that I think there's at least enough to merit taking a chance on, although there are a couple players in here that I'm, like I said, not as high on as I initially was when I first picked them. So that's unfortunate. But like I said at the start, the top of the draft, the first 4 picks, I absolutely love it. And there is no trades until day 3. I know that some people want to trade down. I want to trade down personally. I think that's going to give us the max value in the NFL draft. But right now, I just don't see a trade down happening. It's possible. It's very possible. And there's many teams that might be looking to move up, that have been reported to looking to move up. I just don't see it right now for the Titans, just because I cannot justify a team trading up into the top 10 in a draft class that's not very good at the top. I can't see that. I can't justify that. There is going to be a team that probably does it, and almost always happens in the top 10, but right now, I don't know. I think it's more likely that the Titans have to stick and pick at number 4, and if you're one of those people that are all in on Jeremiah Love, we're going to talk about him in a second, a little bit of spoiler alert here, but if you're all Jeremiah Love or death, then this mock is for you. Also, the love or death thing, I totally stole that from Tyler Rowland. Sorry. All credit goes to him on that phrase, but I am going to take it because it is a good bar nonetheless. So now let's get into the mock. Let's do it. Pick 1, 4th overall in the first round. I already said it, but we're going with running back Jeremiah Love, 6 foot, 212 pounds, 4.3, 40-yard dash. And there's not much to say about Jeremiah Love that hasn't already been said, but let's break it down really quick. Jeremiah Love, the biggest thing about him is the speed. He is a burner. He can score from anywhere. And man, would that be so good to have for the Titans. But it's not just the speed. It's the body control. In terms of, or speed control, I should say. He can slow and then re-accelerate super quickly. When he goes to run through the hole, he's patient. And once he gets the crease, he explodes out of nowhere. And that is really special. To have that type of speed and be able to control it, and to have stop and start and kind of hold yourself and then go really quickly, that stuff is special. That stuff is very creative. It's nice. It's really exemplifies why he's such a home run hitter. It's because of that speed control. And then also, while he's not a powerful running back, he does finish well. He's a strong finisher and has a workhorse mentality. Even though he only had 20 carries, three games in his entire career, he works like it, he plays like it, and that's a mentality that you have to have as a running back, in my opinion. And then his receiving potential. The receiving potential is really high. He lined up outside, or not outside, but lined up in the slot, did a couple drills at the combine. So there's versatility there. And you think about Jeremiah Love and his big play potential. Cam Ward running away from pressure. He's in trouble. Quickly dumps it off to Jeremiah Love. He makes a catch, makes a man or two miss, and he goes for a 60-yard touchdown. Like, that's, if we draft Jeremiah Love, that will happen a time or two in the season. And Jeremiah Love gives the Titans the best out of all the players in the draft. Jeremiah Love has the best chance to start day 1 and be awesome day 1. So it makes a lot of sense. But there's some things that I do not like about Jeremiah Love. One of those things is his cuts. When he makes a jump cut, he can pitter-patter his feet a little bit and it gets a little muddy. Part of that is because he's indecisive as a runner. He, more often than not, at Notre Dame, waited for a hole to open than creating one himself, which, if you're not creating at the next level, you're just going to be another guy, that's a pretty big concern for me for Jeremiah Love. And then also his lack of power. He's not a big, stocky back that can take a ton of hits. Like I said, he only had 20 carries in a game 3 times. 3 times, 3 games, that's it. So you got to have a second back behind him. He's not a workhorse back. He's not a bell cow back. He never was in Notre Dame, nor will he ever will be. If you want to get the max value out of Jeremiah Love, you got to have a good backup behind him. Have a good duo, like Jahmyr Gibbs with Sonic and Knuckles. Why was Jahmyr Gibbs so good? Because he had David Montgomery. So that's a limitation of Jeremiah Love, but honestly, is that really a limitation? The upside of Jeremiah Love is so freaking high, and what he could bring to the Titans offense would be so good. He will be a great running back day one, in my opinion. If you want to support Cam Ward and help support Cam Ward right freaking now, this very second, drafting Jeremiah Love is the right move. But now we get a little bit more interesting going to pick 35 in the second round. I had a lot of players on the board. At receiver, Jeremy Bernard, Chris Bell was still there, Max Anacor, the tackle out of Arizona State, R. Mason Thomas, Gabe Jockus at edge, Colton Hood, Brandon Cisse at corner. All those options were still available. And I really wanted to go receiver here, but to me, Jeremy Bernard at 35 is a little bit of a reach. I'd rather pick him in a trade down in the 40s or the 50s. And for Chris Bell, with the recent injury that he dealt with last year, I'm out. The Titans should not be spending top 100 picks on players that are either injury prone or had a notable injury last season. I don't want it. I've dealt with enough of players in the top 100 that have injury issues. I do not want another Treylon Burks. I do not want another Caleb Farley. No. Take a guy who is durable and is healthy and also gives you all of the upside of the player. No. So Chris Bell, Jeremy Bernard, no. I wanted to go receiver, but those two options are not worth it for me at 35. So we have to go to our next biggest need, and that is edge rusher. And I went with edge rusher Cassius Howell out of Texas A&M, 6'2", 253 pounds, only 30.25-inch arms, so the length isn't good. But he is a speed rusher, which I'm not as concerned about with a lack of arm length compared to a power rusher that has to start on early downs and set a physical edge in the run game like a Ruben Bain, for example. Being a speed rusher, that can be compensated a little bit more. And the big thing I like about Cassius Howell is his constant production. He had 127 tackles, 27 sacks, 35 tackles for loss in his college career. When he was at Bowling Green before transferring to Texas A&M, he improved every single year. And while his 2024 season, his first year at A&M, wasn't as good as his 2023 year, hey, 2025 was his best year. He was really good. He was fun to watch. And so there you go. That's why he's going to be picked in the second round, a lot of it because of his production. But as a player, he has great bend. He has great get off. He is explosive off the line. Ran a 4.59 40-yard dash. He will literally fly past offensive linemen. He had multiple sacks last year where he did just that. He literally just got off the line and just ran right past the tackle. Didn't have to do a move or nothing. Just ran right past him. But speaking of moves, he has some tools he can go to. He's not a raw prospect in that regard. He has tools in his belt to work with, including an inside spin counter that I heard about, but now doing research on Cassius Howell, seeing it firsthand, it's wicked. It's absolutely wicked. And for those of you that don't know what an inside spin counter is, pretty much it's a pass rush move, obviously, but the idea is you start off with the vertical rush, which that's pretty self-explanatory, and as the tackle begins to move outside, you take your arm and knock down that outside arm and force the tackle's leverage outside, and you just spin inside and box out the tackle. That's the pretty much idea of what you want to do for an inside counter. He is very good at that, and that will be really nice against some of the bigger offensive tackles at the next level that may not be as great of a mover. Against more athletic tackles, that might be a little bit of a problem, but I'm not too worried about it that much right now. It's still a prospect that has not been picked yet, whatever. But that's the things I really like about Cassius Howell. Some things I think could be better, though. He's not good against the run because of his size. He's 250 pounds, 30-inch arms. He gets moved around in the run game, doesn't set a physical edge. That's not who he is as a player. And also, his hand placement will get a little wacky. It'll be in inconsistent spots, which prohibits him from really maximizing the leverage that he gets from his speed. And then his pass rush speed itself relatively stays the same for the most part. You'll see that on a lot of his sacks from snap to move to sack or to whistle, whatever the play ends in. you'll see his play speed remain the same. Doesn't have a lot of variance in his speed, and that's going to have to get better. If you don't have a lot of variance at anything in the NFL, you are going to get destroyed. The game is about variation in playing chess instead of checkers. I mean, if you don't have variation in your technique, it's going to get noticed immediately and it's going to get shut down at the next level. That's how this thing works. But all that can be coached. All that can get better. Maybe not the run game part. He might be limited to being an only designated pass rusher. But honestly, at pick 35, if he becomes a really good third down rusher, that's fine with me. And that's what he's going to be to start out as a Titans. He's going to be the third down designated pass rusher on third down for the Titans. And he has some room to grow. And if he does hit, he will be a high-level rotational pass rusher that will get your quarterback in the blink of an eye. And when you need to have a sack, when you need to have a stop on third down, Cassius Howell will be able to do that very, very quickly. So that's why I ended up picking him. He was definitely the best edge rusher on the board right now, for my opinion. And then we get to round 3, pick 66, and I had to go wide receiver. If the Titans do not come away with the wide receiver in the first 3 rounds, it would be a massive failure by the organization. They need wide receiver. It's still a big need for this football team, and we needed an outside X receiver. And this is a guy that I did not know a lot about, but after doing some research, this is a guy that I really, really like, and it is Ted Hurst out of Georgia State, small school guy. 6'4", 206 pounds, 4.4 240-yard dash, so he is fast. He's got an 11-foot broad jump, 39-inch vertical. He is a freak athlete. And we're not taking him in the 3rd round just because he's a freak athlete. The way he runs routes for a guy his size at 6'4", the way he can sink his hips and get out of his break is rare. Kind of like Chris Brazzell out of Tennessee, another guy who's 6'4". And so I just got distracted, sorry. But the thing is, Ted Hurst, like I said, the way he sinks his hips, the way he can get out of his breaks for a guy that height is rare. When you're a taller guy, naturally, it's kind of harder to sink down because there's more of you to lower, right? That makes sense. But the way he does it really indicates that he could run a more diverse route tree than he did at Georgia State, which is one of his biggest knocks. And also his pure speed. He can get off press, he can win vertically and run past guys. And for someone that size, there's a lot to like there. There's a lot of upside. And then also with his size, you have the traditional wide catch radius, long arms, strong hands. This type of guy, this type of skill set, not only is something the Tennessee Titans need at the wide receiver position, but also this is what Cam Ward needs. He needs a guy with a wide catch radius with strong hands that can win down the field and catch 50-50 balls. Cam Ward is a gunslinger. He's not going to be always accurate, and down the field on deep balls, especially outside the numbers, that's where Cam Ward was not very good last year. So you get a guy that can compensate and help fix those problems and kind of blanket them, whatever term you want to use. Ted Hurst fits that mold. Now, he's going in the 3rd round. He is not a complete receiver. We talked about the lack of diverse route tree he ran at Georgia State, but also being at Georgia State, you're not facing elite level competition. So there's going to be a bit of a learning curve jumping from Georgia State to NFL level corners. So I'm wondering, is he going to be able to make that jump? It's definitely an eyebrow raiser, but with the talent that's there, it's kind of hard to pass on that right now. And the other only thing is with Ted Hurst is that he doesn't use his size as much as you'd like him to. He makes some drops that other guys his size would make. And also, he allows corners to fight with him at the catch point a little bit more than you would like to see. When you're a big receiver like that, the idea is to jump up, box out the receiver, make the catch. He allows corners to get their hands in there and make things a little bit more difficult for him. So if he can learn to use his size more and diversify his route tree, I think he could become a fantastic receiver. And if he were to do that, one of the biggest steals of the entire draft, flat out. I love Ted Hurst. I love what he could bring to the table. And now we'll get to round 4, where we do have a trade. This is the only trade in the mock draft, and it's with the Pittsburgh Steelers. We went from pick 101 to pick 121, so dropping 20 spots, and we gave up pick 225 and got back pick 135. So we added another 4th round pick, which is really nice. And on day 3, we need to attack offensive line. It's no secret that this is a massive need for the Titans right now and a bigger need than initially we thought. But with how they've attacked the offseason or how they didn't attack the offseason with the offensive line, it's a problem right now. And so we need to get a guy on guard or center that can probably compete and start day one. And that is going to be where we go first and going to center, picking Brian Parker out of Duke at pick 121, following in Graham Barton's footsteps, the center for the Bucks. Both of these guys play tackle. They're going to transition into center. Parker is 6'5", 309 pounds, just under 33-inch arms, so the length isn't great, and ran a 7.63 cone, which for offensive linemen, that is a very good predictor if an offensive lineman is going to be good or not. It tests if you're going to be good in how quicker you are, how mobile you are in short areas in a phone booth, right? More like where you would be as an offensive lineman, right? You're in a phone booth, you're in the trenches, you're not moving very far. So that is a lot more predictive than a traditional 40-yard dash. But he is a good athlete nonetheless. And also, Duke ran a lot of gap runs at that university. Guess what? Titans are also going to run a lot of gap runs. So there's a scheme fit here as well. But the big seller for me and Brian Parker is his IQ. He knows how to identify twists and stunts, knows the timing of when to get into the second level in the run game. And having that IQ, having that intelligence, that's really going to give him an edge. And that's why I think he should compete and start day one. The Titans need a guy that's smart. And because he's smart, that gives him that edge. And also, he has great body control. He knows how to move really well. He shifts and redirect his weight well. Plays with really good technique as well. He's a polished guy. He'll get his hands in the right spot. Also has really good grip strength and good feet. You'll see him readjust, make subtle movements. And in that regard, he's kind of adaptable. He's like a wad of putty. That's the best way I can describe Brian Parker's game. He's like a wad of putty. You take your putty and you're squishing it, right? You can stretch it, you can move it around, throw it against a wall, but no matter what you do to it, it's still going to be the same wad of putty. You take Brian Parker, you might be able to kind of shift, you might be able to move him around a little bit, you might be able to kind of, you can't like bull past him, you could, but the idea is no matter how he moves, no matter how you move him, he's still going to be right there. He's going to be right with you the whole time. But that water putty thing also goes to his detriment because he's an average size guy. He doesn't have long arms, so he doesn't play with power. He's not a very strong guy. But the thing is, the Titans don't need a power center. They need an athletic center and go with bigger guards to go next to him. That's what Brian Daboll wants in his offense. So that's not a big worry for me, but it is something to note. The other thing, though, because of his lack of size, bigger, longer pass rushers will get to him. They can get past him and move him, but that's why you have bigger guards, right? You have bigger guards to help fix those issues, and then on double teams, you have a big guard and an athletic center. That's a deadly combination. And then the other thing is, because of his lack of size, he's going to need to be quicker in his pass sets or getting to his pass sets in order to compensate for his lack of size and length, but that's something that can be coached. That's something that can be fixed. He fits exactly what the Titans need at center, and with the IQ, with the technique, he has a great chance to compete right away and possibly start day one. And if he can start day one and play well, oh man, that would be, guys, that would be really, really nice, and definitely will give us a big peace of mind, considering that center is a very volatile position. For the Titans right now, they need some type of stability, and Brian Parker has a chance to provide that right away. Now we get to I like this mock draft for the most part. This is where we start to get where I get to get a little concerned, because I was high on this player initially. Now I'm not as much, doing a little bit more research. And at 135, we pick offensive tackle Diego Pounds out of Ole Miss. 6'6", 325 pounds, 33 3/4-inch arms. He is a massive, massive, massive human being. And while he is inconsistent as a player, his size and length, it's tantalizing. This is one of the biggest guys in the draft. And while he is not a great run blocker, he's not a good run blocker at all. Had one of the lowest grades in college football for offensive tackles. Part of it's because of his height, but also his body control is not great. It leads to defenders moving right across his face, and he also struggles to get to the second level. And speaking of the pad level, plays too high. It's hard when you're 6'6", and it allows smaller guys to get around him a little easier, and he also has slow feet. He can move well in a straight line. He ran just above a 5-second 40-yard dash, so he can move, he can run, but from side to side, he does not move very fast, and that's indicated in his 3-cone drill. But what he does really well, he is a fantastic pass protector. He was one of the best in college football last year, over 500 snaps, give or take, no sacks allowed. He is as secure as it gets in pass protection, and he also brings heavy hands. He has a very powerful punch. When he gets his hands on your chest, you feel it in your bones. And when he gets his hands on you, gets his feet set, you're done. You're not going to get past him. It's over. And despite the deficiencies that we talked about, he does fight through them. He will not go down without a fight. Even if he is struggling out there, he is still giving it his all. He is not quitting, and that is a mentality that I would want in my offensive tackle. So there's a lot to like here. There's some stuff that's not to like. The fact that he's not a great run blocker leads me to believe the Titans might pass on a guy like this. But for me personally, you need a potential answer after Dan Moore, and if you give him the time, give him next year, right, his rookie year to develop, and maybe one more year, get that run blocking a little bit better. Okay, now we have a guy that could potentially be a security blanket that can just hold the fort down at offensive tackle for a couple of years, give or take, and not have to worry about it. So that's kind of the goal. That's kind of the idea here. But Diego Pounds, definitely an exciting prospect for the pass protection purposes, but the run blocking might leave him off the Titans board. That's why I'm not really excited about this pick as much as I thought it would be. Now we move to the next one in round 5, pick 142. And this one, I'm going to be honest, I straight up don't like it. It's Jaden Roberts, the guard out of Alabama. And when I was picking him in the mock, I was reading his profile, looking at what he does well. I was like, okay, this is a player that I like. And then looking more into it, there's really not a lot of positives other than his size. He's 6'5", 333 pounds, 33-inch arms. He is extremely powerful. He is a very strong guy. He was the strongest player, arguably, on Alabama's football team. He had an 800-pound squat. 800 pounds, and then had a 500-pound bench press. He is a weight room god. And looking at his tape, it's natural. He is a naturally strong dude, and even though his technique is bad, he has some excellent reps that really are because of his strong size. But the negatives, they're all there. Bad technique. Just like I said, his body control is not good for a guy who is a good athlete for a guy his size. He does not control his body well, and then he has a lot of bad mental reps. That's the thing that really gets to me, because at this level, at the University of Alabama and the SEC, you cannot have bad mental reps. You can't have a whole lot of them. The SEC is supposed to be the best of the best, right? So if you're out there struggling mentally at the SEC, you're going to need time to develop, and that's the thing. I don't think there's enough here to justify taking in round 5. If you take him round 6, round 7, okay, we're cooking a little bit here. But at round 5, honestly, Jaden Roberts, I don't think that's worth the pick. Like I said, I do not like this one. I hate to say that, but I have to be honest. I have to be truthful. And it's as real of a dart throw as it gets. And honestly, the thing too is he's probably just going to be a depth player. I don't see starting potential in Jaden Roberts like I thought I initially did. And if you're going to take a guard in round 5, you better have a trait or some type of upside that you could develop into. And right now, I don't see that in Jaden Roberts. He is just a big, strong person, and that's it. That is pretty much it right now. And so, I don't know. Going to have to bite the bullet with this one. But we're going to move on to a player that, while may not be what the Titans are looking for at defensive tackle, but this is a guy I like. He's a little bit different, and that's why I like him. It's at round 5, pick 144. I took Landon Robinson, the defensive tackle out of the University of Navy. And here's why he's different. Because he's 5'11", 293 pounds. He is undersized. But despite the size, looking at the tape, this dude can play. His size with his reach, he has an over 76-inch wingspan, which for a guy that doesn't have long arms, that he does have a great wingspan. That's longer than Peter Woods, who's going to be a first-round pick in this year's draft. It's a deadly combo. He reminds me a lot of Poona Ford. an undersized, squatty defensive tackle, but had a really wide wingspan. And that combination, when you coach that up, look at what Poona Ford did for the Rams last year. He's a good football player. This is a good rotational pass rush around the interior that can make plays, that's productive. That's why I like Landon Robinson, because he reminds me a lot of Poona Ford. I really like Poona Ford. I liked him a lot coming out of college all those years ago. But also, Landon Robinson, he's a quick mover. He can still penetrate gaps very quickly. And he's also hard to redirect. Once he gets to the edge of an offensive lineman and he starts to push around him, he's around him. Once he's got that position, he's got his man beat. So he can win consistently against single blocks. That is very important, and that's what I like a lot about Landon Robinson. But the thing is, because of his size, once he gets double-teamed, he's done. Like, a double team absolutely eliminates him, so you don't want him starting on early downs. He is a third down speed rush package type of player, but because it's a little bit nuanced, that's what's so fun about him, man. I mean, Landon Robinson can play, and the Titans need interior defensive line depth after this year. You brought in Solomon Thomas, you brought in Jordan Elliott, but what do you got after that? After these guys are gone, where's the depth at? The depth will be gone in a year or two. So you want Landon Robinson, who can develop, will have the time to develop, and you get a guy that's like Poona Ford that can be your speed rush package defensive tackle, and he can play. Look at the tape. He can play. I know it's not what the Titans normally pick, but this is a guy I like. And right here in the 5th round, it was kind of hard to let him go. It is what it is for me. And if you can get Poona Ford out of him, that would be absolutely amazing. But this pick, the next pick in round 6, pick 184, this might be one of the biggest steals in the entire draft. Honestly, a little surprised I got him in round 6, but it's Efesiens Prasak, the corner out of Washington, and 6'3", 196 pounds. 4'4", 540, 33-inch arms. Really, really good measurables, really good athlete. Not as freaky of an athlete as his teammate Tacario Davis, but at the same time, Prasak is very, very exciting as a prospect in his own right. And why? Not only because of the measurables, but he is great in zone coverage. He sees the field really well. He adjusts depending on what receivers do. He can make a quarterback second guess on his decision making. And if you can make a quarterback second guess, that gives your defensive line that extra tick of a second needed to get to the quarterback and make a hit, force an incompletion, get a turnover, get a sack. Those little things matter so much, and Prasak brings that to the table. But he also tracks the ball well on deep balls and runs with receivers to be able to knock the ball away. That good length, you see that on tape. And also, his press bail is very good, in particular, specifically on technique, because that's great for Robert Saleh's defense. The press bail, you're not going to be in man coverage in Robert Saleh's defense. You're going to be doing almost all zone, right? But the press bail is good, obviously, to sell man coverage for schematic purposes, but the press bail, you push a guy, get him off his mark, and get back into your spot, erased. You can erase him, and that's what Prasak can do. That's what he does really well. Some things, though, that I would like to see get better. His ball production, he left he left a lot of takeaways on the table at Washington. There was multiple plays where he could have had an interception, but never came away with it. That's, I think that can be coached. I think that can be fixed. It's not a big concern for me. But also, because he's 6'4" or 6'3", excuse me. He plays upright. He doesn't get low and get high. He kind of just plays almost standing up, and that limits his movement and his adjustment ability. And then his tackling could also use some work, especially in the run game. Kind of just throws himself at someone or tries to do a finesse tackle, not a true, genuine, aggressive wrap up, drag that guy to the ground. But all those downsides can be fixed, which is why taking him here in round 6 would be such a massive steal. You give him a couple years to develop, and he will be competing for a starting spot and probably win a starting spot in a couple of years. I really like Efesiens Prasak, Tacario Davis. Both of those Washington corners are so talented. To get one of them on day 3, that would be absolutely incredible. And then we get to our last pick in the 6th round, pick 194, and I had to get someone that can help us right away. And now you're asking, how could someone in the 6th round help the Titans right away? Well, let me tell you. It's because we doubled up on running back. doubled up on running back. I know, crazy, right? But I went with Le'Veon Moss, the running back out of Texas A&M. This is the secondary back the Titans need. He is 5'11", 200 pounds, a powerful, strong runner, short yardage monster. He is incredible in short yardage. When if it's 3rd and 1, 3rd inches, if you need a first down, he gets first downs. He drops his pads, turns his feet, has great contact balance, and fights through the hole. I just spit a lot on my mic. And also, he has upside in pass protection. He's not afraid to get in there and throw a chip at a defensive lineman or a linebacker. He's not afraid to do it. So you talk about 4th down and inches, 4th and short. You want to get a quick play action and fool the defense. Le'Veon Moss will be in there for an extra protector. He can do that. The only thing is, that's pretty much it for Le'Veon Moss. He's not fast or explosive, not very agile, and has some injuries that are concerning. But the thing is, Le'Veon Moss isn't going to be in a big role right away for the Titans. He's going to play an important role, but it's going to be a small one that's pretty important. Man, I'm losing my train of thought. I'm sorry. But here's what he does. Because of his short yardage ability, he fills that niche role that the Titans need really bad. They didn't have it last year. They couldn't run for crap on 3rd and short. And that's because Tony Pollard and Tajay Spears are not power backs. And that's the thing. You have Jeremiah Love that's crazy on 1st and 2nd down. And then you get to 3rd and short. Here comes Le'Veon Moss to get that first down and extend drives. He will be an unsung hero of this football team. I believe that because he's so good in short yardage. He will not flash greatness or wow people, but when he steps on the field and you need him to extend drives, he will do that. He will 100% do that right away for the Titans. I believe that 100%. I really like Le'Veon Moss for that spot. And then in a couple of years, give him some time to learn and develop a little bit. Okay, maybe you can take him, put him in here on 2nd and short. Maybe you can put him in here on 2nd and 5, right? Or medium downs. So there's a lot to like here. If he can stay healthy, this could be a fantastic piece on the Titans offense and a critical piece for a need that they were desperately missing last year. Gonna throw it all up on the screen right here, the complete mock. As you can see it, we got Jeremiah Love, Cassius Howell, Ted Hurst, Brian Parker, Jaden Roberts. We also got Diego Pounds. I flipped those, excuse me. We got Landon Robinson, Efesian Prasak, and Le'Veon Moss. What do you guys think of this mock draft? Do you think it was good? Where it could have been worked on? Definitely day 3 will be a lot better in 3.0 when it comes out. But that is for then. Leave your comments down below. I love reading what you guys have to say. And if you made it this far, please consider hitting the like button and subscribe button. It helps me out a lot. We're just under 300 subscribers. So if you can be that 300th subscriber, please hit the button. It's free. Only takes a couple of seconds. It would help me out a lot. That's going to do it for this mock draft. I hope you all enjoyed. I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. And I will see you all next time.